And today I will talk about AI-driven medical device software in laboratory medicine. In this presentation, I will talk about the transformation of laboratory medicine through AI, and I will talk about the regulatory landscape, including IVDR, ISO 15189, and the newly established AI Act. And I will represent the findings from the analysis of 89 MDSV, medical device software under IVDR, and will address the responsibilities of laboratory professionals and manufacturers and talk about key challenges and future directions. The AI's impact in laboratory medicine actually have various fields in total testing process, including pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical phase. In pre-analytical phase, we can detect clots using machine learning and AI, and we can also address sample misidentification problems. And within analytical phase, we have some tools for digital morphological analysis of blood cells, and we can have some machine learning models for quality control in literature, and also for post-analytical phase, we can use AI for disease prediction and differential diagnosis. Overall, AI offers enhanced diagnostic accuracy, improved workflows, and better patient outcomes. So there is a regulatory challenge actually in Europe mainly, and these regulatory challenge is going around the AI-based medical device softwares. So it's a new layer of complexity in regulation compliance, and there are unique AI-related risks requiring specific oversight. And there are multiple overlapping frameworks, including IVDR, ISO 15189, AI Act. So we have to balance these regulatory oversight with innovation is critical, which is critical. Actually, regulatory adherence is important, and there are 6 key benefits related to this regulatory adherence. First one is patient safety. We can reduce algorithmic bias and ensure safe use by ensuring this patient safety. And the device effectiveness is also very important, and accurate and reliable results are main aim. By regulatory adherence, we can also sustain it. And the other items are trust and adoption and building confidence among healthcare professionals, market access, innovation, and ethical standards, including transparency, accountability, and human-centric approach. There are some key definitions in this area, and these are medical device. A medical device under MDR and IVDR it changes, but instruments, apparatus, software for medical device purposes are generally defined as medical device, excluding pharmacological action. And there's another term, SAMD, software as medical device. It is IMDRF term, which is also written in FDA documents. And software performing medical functions independently are classified as SAMD. And the other important term is MDSV, medical device software. It is the EU term for software used independently or alongside tools for medical device purposes. So, how to classify the device to MDR or IVDR? How we can decide if our devices go MDR way or IVDR way? Actually, we have to first look at the information provided by these MDSV. If it's within the scope of IVD definition, we can go on with the other step, and we look if this MDSV provide information based on data obtained solely from IVD medical devices. If yes, it goes to IVDR classification, and if not, we will look another question, is the intended purpose substantially driven by those IVD data source? If yes, it goes to IVD definition. So therefore, the key distinction is data source and intended purpose. If the data source coming from IVD, it goes to IVDR. If the intended purpose is mainly about IVD, it goes to IVDR. And the rest of them are allocated to and go to MDR covering. So let's look at some examples for medical device regulation, MDR. We have, for instance, electrocardiogram analysis software like that. But when it goes to IVDR, artificial intelligence-driven software analyzing for blood biomarkers and assessing cancer risk are within the scope of IVDR. So, there are some risk classifications for both regulations, but when we look at the IVDR, there are four classes, class A, B, C, and D. And let's look at these classes. Class A is related to low risks, and these are general purpose laboratory softwares, such as AI-enabled specimen transport and logistics softwares. And Class B is related to self-testing or near-patient tests that pose lower risk. For instance, AI-enabled urine strip analysis for home use can be classified as Class B. And when it comes to Class C, these are the software for detecting infectious diseases and genetic testing and cancer diagnosis. The example can be AI colorectal cancer screen can be classified as Class C. And Class D is the highest risk. It is related to detecting transmissible agents in blood tissues and organs and blood grouping, including ABO, Rhesus-Cal, and KID and Duffy systems. So AI-driven PCR analysis quantifying viral load can be classified as Class D. So MDSP approval process under IVDR required some steps, including precise qualification and classification of the software, comprehensive technical documentation, and conformity assessment by notified body, except from Class A, because Class A devices can be self-declared without any conformity assessment. And also the performance demonstration should be handled according to Annexes 2 and 3, and post-market surveillance system should be established. UDEMET database actually it is established under IVDR and it is intended to provide public information on medical device, including IVDR approved medical device softwares. So we analyzed this database on February 7, 2025, and we look at 356 MDSVs and we filtered them to 89 unique MDSV, removing some duplicates and versions. And we look at manufacturer risk class, EU member states and functions. And when we look at the analysis results, we can see that the most of the softwares are related to actually 20% of them are related to digital pathology, imaging, and microscopy, which is followed by nucleic acid and molecular testing, and which is going with the laboratory automation systems, immunology, immunoassays, and flow cytometry, microbiological testing, and go on like that. But it is dominated by digital pathology, imaging, and microscopy. And when we look at the member states of the placing on the EU market of the device, it is dominated by Germany, which constitute 38% of them, and which is followed by Ireland as 10% and Italy as 9%, and which is followed by France and Denmark. And when we look at the AI integration in MDSV, we can see that actually most of the devices are non-AI driven. They are not driven by any artificial intelligence system. It constitutes 87%, and only 12% of them, so 11 devices are AI driven. And we can see that there's a limited AI adoption despite growing potential. And the most approved MDSVs relied on traditional algorithms rather than machine learning and AI approaches. And also, when we look at the classes of these devices, we can see that the most of the devices are having lower risk. So these are classified as Class A, 7 to 8%, and which is followed by Class C hybrid systems. And these are also constitute the 15% of them. These are related to critical diagnostic applications and direct patient care outcomes impacts. So when it comes to ISO 15189, which also impacts every laboratory under accreditation, when we look at the impact on MDSV regulations, we can see that while this ISO document doesn't specifically discuss MDSV, it impacts on the usage of MDSV, and softwares must probably be tested and maintained according to the equipment management section, and we have to verify them before their use. And also we have to report their non-conforming work, and we have to handle these non-conforming work by some corrective actions and preventive actions. And also we have to manage the data actually, because these AI systems are driven by data. So validation and verification of these information systems are required, and we have to document the changes we see, and we take the cybersecurity measures. And also MDSV should subject to external quality assessment if available, and the impact analysis of measurement uncertainty on outputs are also required, and I will talk about this problem in the following slides. So the other regulation is the AI Act, which is established in 2024, and it constitutes a new layer of AI-specific oversight. The goal is to create trustworthy and human-centric AI protecting public health and safety, fundamental rights, and high safety standards. So what is the relationship to IVDR? Actually, AI Act complementary, not replacement of IVDR, and the AI-based MDSV must comply with both IVDR and AI Act. Also, additional requirements for high-risk AI systems are required according to AI Act. So when we talk about high risk AI system, what is that? Actually, let's talk about AI system. AI system is machine-based system designed to operate with varying autonomy levels that inform infers outputs like predictions, content recommendations, and it uses machine learning or logic-based systems or knowledge-based approaches. But it may exhibit some adaptiveness after deployment. And when it comes to high-risk AI system, it means that some systems that require mandatory third-party conformity assessment. So according to IVDR, when we go to IVDR, we can see that class B, C, and D devices subject to conformity assessment. Therefore, when the device allocated to classified as class B, C, or D, we can understand that these devices are high-risk AI systems when these are AI-driven actually. So let's look at the timeline of AI Act implementation. We can see that it is established in 2024, but the general application date is 2nd of August 2026. And actually, we have some responsibilities under these three different regulations. I talked about ISO 15189, IVDR, and AI Act. So according to these three regulations, we have some responsibilities as laboratory professionals. What are these? Actually, first one is using these devices according to instructions, and we have to ensure data suitability, and we have to control input data, and we have to monitor these MDSVs, these devices and softwares, and report the issues related to problems. And we have to record the logs at least 6 months for high-risk AI systems. We have to validate and verify them. We have to validate in-house systems and verify commercial ones. And we have to have some risk management systems, quality management systems, and we have to educate our staff for competence, and also we ensure the human oversight for AI-driven softwares. It means that every AI system should be handled by accompanied by a human being. When it comes to manufacturer or provider responsibilities, actually both frameworks, IVDR and AIA, requires quality management system establishment, including their design, change control, and corrective and protective actions. There should also be a lifecycle risk management system established by provider, and technical documentation and traceability also should be established. Also, conformity assessment is required by IVDR for class B, C, and D devices, and instruction for use and safety information should be provided, and post-market surveillance systems should be established by provider too. When it comes to registration for IVDR, these devices should be registered to UDEMET registration for IVDR, and for AI Act regulation, they should be registered to EU AI database. Also, for high-risk MDSV, according to AI Act, we have some specific data governance for training, validation, and test sets. I will talk about this in the following slide, and we have to ensure about the accuracy, robustness, and cybersecurity across the life cycle of these AI systems. And for IVDR specific requirement, also there's a clinical and performance evaluation should be made for scientific validity of these devices and softwares, and also analytical and clinical performance. So, what the AI Act mandates specific data governance that IVDR doesn't. Actually, for training and validation testing data sets, the relevance and representatives of the data should be ensured, and we have to ensure checking any errors, and we have to ensure if the quality is established, and also there should be appropriate data governance practices, and also technical files should be documented. And for self-learning AI, actually, the predetermined changes should be assessed for conformity, and post-market monitoring should be handled for evolving risks for self-learning AI. So when we compare these three different regulatory frameworks, you can see that all three overlap in three items. They says us to use them according to instructions, monitor them, and report the issues related to problems, and be ensure about the data quality and suitability should be established. And there are also some ISO 15189 unique requirements. These are comprehensive laboratory-wide quality and management system establishment, proactive risk management, and equipment verification before use. And when it comes to AI Act specific requirements, these are explicit data governance for AI training, system generated log retention at least 6 months for high risk AI systems, and specific human oversight implementation. The IVDR unique emphasis is clinical performance evaluation and in-house device QMS requirements. And also there is a measurement uncertainty challenge. Actually, labs must evaluate how measurement uncertainty of test inputs affect these medical device software outputs. So we have to ensure that our input and measurement uncertainty is within acceptable limits, because as you know that garbage in, garbage out. So if your input is trash, your outputs can be trash. We have to verify laboratories measurement uncertainty meets manufacturer specifications, and if no specifications provided independently, we have to verify sensitivity, specificity, accuracy. It remains valid for us for performance evaluations, or we have to check other performance claims. And for non-harmonized measurements, these require special attention because some tumor markers results can be different from one analyzer to another. So be sure that we are getting the equivalent results across different measurement systems, including for tumor markers and some hormone tests covering both immunoassays. Also, there is another challenge regard to external quality assessment. These external quality assessment schemes must ensure equivalent MDSV outputs across different analytical procedures. So there is a necessity to establish these external quality assessment systems. And there are some challenges. Let's start with technical and scientific issues. Actually, difficult with defining internet use is the first one because it is difficult with general purpose AI models like LLMs, large language models, and multiple applications complicate regulatory applicability. When it comes to data quality and bias, training data must be representative. Analytical bias, imprecision of input variables affects outputs, and it requires rigorous stress tests. When it comes to performance metric selection, actually context-dependent priorities like sensitivity over specificity or the vice versa should be established, and the class imbalance can skew the results. Therefore, we have to ensure about the class imbalance should be handled by selection of performance metrics and also based on the specific prevalence of the problem that we are seeking to solve via this MDSV. So the other problems are regulatory and implementation problems. When it comes to them, we have to look clinical evidence. Many studies are retrospective and single-centered data sets actually limits the generalizability of the models. Therefore, overestimation of accuracy is a common problem. Also, there's a need for robust clinical validation. And the other thing is post-market surveillance. We have to monitor the performance and we have to look for unintended outcomes and we have to identify biases post-deployment. And we have to get a resource intensive data collection. And actually, the other problem is overlapping frameworks. As I talked before, IVDR, ISO 15189, and AI Act, and some national laws actually overlapping to each other and actually a bit complicating the field. And it can lead to some conflicts and confusion. Therefore, a harmonization or guidance documents are needed. And there are also some operational and practical barriers. And one is the enforcement uncertainty. Actual detailed guidance is still developing, and I will talk about a couple of them in the following slide. And there are some inconsistent interpretation across member states of EU, and there are some conservative adoption strategies out there. And the other problem is related to resource and intensive compliance. Continuous monitoring requirements are necessary, and human oversight is necessary according to AI Act. And particularly, these regulatory things are a bit challenging for smaller labs. The other problem is liability and accountability issue. Actually, there are multiple stakeholders involved in these AI-driven systems. Therefore, there's a complex interaction between AI outputs, user inputs, and laboratory procedures. Therefore, it is quite unclear who is the responsible for the outcomes of these MDSV decisions. And the last challenges are related to integration and innovation. Actually, we have to integrate them with existing quality systems within our laboratories. So quality management system designed for traditional testing methods, but we have to ensure that our QMS system should capture these AI-specific risks, including model underfitting and overfitting problems. And there's a need for AI-tailored external quality assessment schemes. So we have to balance innovation and patient safety. Overly strict regulations stifle innovation, and insufficient oversight compromises safety. Therefore, dynamic regulatory adaptation is needed. So when it comes to future direction, there are some good things happening out there. And one is ISO 24051, which is under development, and principles for AI application in medical laboratories are handled by this. And also it may reduce the uncertainties about AI specific responsibilities of laboratories. And also it can provide a clearer guidance for AI-driven MDSP use. There are two documents under development, part one and part two of this document. And part one is related to general principles for application of AI in medical laboratories, and part two is specifically related to digital pathology and AI-based image analysis. So, regulation evolution is needed. So clear validation methodologies should be established, transparent compliance pathways should be written and reported, and domain-specific guidance for laboratory medicine is quite needed. And also, there's a need for external quality assessment scheme development for AI-driven schemes and for comparing results across different laboratories and supporting the evolving AI systems. So, what should laboratory professionals do about these AI-driven MDSVs? Actually, before implementation, we have to verify intended use alignment, which our laboratory needs. We have to confirm appropriate IVDR classification and check UDOMET registration or the other database registration. And we have to review the manufacturer's technical documentation before implementation of these MDSVs. And during implementation, we have to conduct throughout verification of validation process, and we have to assess measurement uncertainty and ensure our staff training is adequate and they are quite competent of their use. And we have to integrate these AI system into our existing quality management system. And after implementation, we have to monitor the performance of these softwares continuously, and we have to maintain their logs at least 6 months for high-risk AI systems, and we have to report serious incidents promptly. And we have to participate relevant EQA systems if available. So let's finish with key takeaways. Actually, multiple regulatory frameworks apply to these AI-driven medical device software, including IVDR, AI Act, ISO 15189. These are comprehensive but complex regulatory complex landscape out there. And also, both laboratory professionals and manufacturers, providers have critical roles ensuring MDSV safety and effectiveness. And actually, you saw that there's a limited AI adoption for medical device softwares. And currently it is 12% out there, and from 12% currently with increasing sophistication in high risk application is growing. We can see that. And also data bias, measurement uncertainty, resource requirements, regulatory overlaps exist, and numerous challenges are out there. Therefore, we have to handle these challenges. But the future is promising. With proper regulation and collaboration, AI can revolutionize laboratory medicine. Thank you for your patience for listening me. Here is the comprehensive article published in CCLM and with the EFLM Committee Quality and Regulation Standards. And you can access this freely available link from this QR code.